welcome back to the channel, Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at this week's pre-orders, and they are live. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe for daily videos, reactions, reviews, news, painting, modeling, conversion tutorials for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team, necromunda, Age of Sigmar, Warcry, pretty much any of the Games Workshop games. So here we have all of the Christmas Battleforce boxes for Age of Sigmar out here. So we have 7 in total. All the same price, which is great, and they are all the same price as they were last year, $210, which is awesome. So we had the Orruk Warclans Battleforce, we had the Nighthaunt, Stormcast Eternals, the Daughters of Khaine, Gloomspite Gitz, Skaven, and finally the Sylvaneth as well. Been going through and doing some breakdowns for these. Essentially, are they a good place to start? Would you want to add them onto a start collecting or Vanguard force? And so far, the majority of them are pretty freaking nice. They all average around 35 to like 40% off over MSRP, which is pretty nice. A couple of them are interesting at first glance, but when you realize, like for instance, the kruleboyz, Swamp Lurkers, and also the Thunderstrike Spearhead for the Stormcast Eternals go perfectly with the Dominion half and basically give you almost 2,000 point army. So that is really awesome. And then so far, haven't made it through all of them yet, but keep your eyes peeled for the remainder of those videos as well. But all of them, good deals. Some of them a little more functional as a starting army than others. And there is quite a bit of a difference between like model count on some of them. Like for instance, the kruleboyz, you only have 15 models in the set, as where in the Skaven box, you have 85 models in a set. Part of the reason you see so much of a difference between them is some of the kits, like for instance, the Vulture is $150 on its own. The coach is like $130 on its own. So some of these models are pretty pricey. So they like pay for themselves if you want 1 or 2 of the big models in a set. So really good stuff overall. I think they're great deals. I'm really happy with the overall composition of them. I think Games Workshop pretty much knocked it out of the park with their battle forces this year. I did pick up this one here. Super cool. Obviously loving the Sylvaneth. Definitely one of my favorite armies. My first army was Wood Elves back in the day for Warhammer Fantasy Battles. I played 40k and stuff way before that though. So then we had the Curseling of Tzeentch, the Scinari Enlightener, the 2 new models that were locked behind that box set, now here available separately. Some pretty nice models overall. Next we see a collection here, Jim and Bob's Dungeon Bowl Yearbook Collection. I don't know what that is or what makes it special. And honestly, I don't really care either. It just looks like it's the 2 main Dungeon Bowl games. I'm not sure. But we see Dungeon Bowl Deathmatch has just come out, $90 for that. That would make sense if the other one's $170. It's basically just Dungeon Bowl and then the expansion as well. Was not super impressed by Dungeon Bowl. It's cool that it came in under $100, which is pretty awesome. And it does have quite a few miniatures in it. Didn't really jump out at me as super appealing. I do have the actual Blood Bowl game. Haven't busted out the new edition. Did not pick up the last Dungeon Bowl, so not really interested in this one. But I know it has a pretty good following. At least Blood Bowl does. Then we see the Spike Journal, $45 for that. It's basically just a compilation of important Blood Bowl information. And now we're on to the good stuff for Warcry right here. So super excited for Sundered Fate. Really, really looking forward to the set. $185 for this. Really, I mean, honestly, glad to see that Games Workshop pulled back their prices. They went crazy when they were pricing the Heart of Gur set, putting it at $230. And I was really hoping after that set bombed that they would pull this back to more in line with Kill Team, and they did exactly that. They brought it back to $185. So at $185, I think it's a good deal. The warbands are both awesome. I like the little beasts that are in there as well. The terrain is super cool. Taking a closer look right here, some people are like pretty confused about the terrain. I've been getting like a lot of pushback in the comments for saying that some of it is recycled. I guess I can kind of understand the confusion, especially if you like haven't built this set yet. But if you've already built the Heart of Gur terrain, there's like really, really clear areas on the actual terrain itself that you can see extra pieces are added onto it. So that's exactly what it is. This is the exact piece from the Heart of Gur set, this tree right here and everything. And then added onto it is a back wall right here, a little overhang, and then there's a little piece of like spinal cord with an extra like kind of support coming up from it. That's just added on, but it's the same old piece from the set. And then the same thing with this set. This is that big like kind of spinal cord vertebrae thing going on here. And then this is all part of the old one. And then this is an extra platform that's added on with extra supports. And then there's one extra branch that is added on here as well. but they're the same two main trees from the other set. Now the other set had 4 trees, so it's 2 of the 4 and then a new piece. And then previously you got 2 sets of the scatter terrain. In this set you only get 1. So, but this is also not a starter set. It's important to know too that actually with this set there are these little guys too. They're like little beasts. It seems like they can only team up with the like little skinks in the set, but I'm not sure. Originally in the Warcry set, there was a bunch of like beasts and you could take them with like any chaos faction. I'm not sure how this is going to work exactly, if this is going to be like just lizardmen type thing or not. But I love both the warbands in this set. They're both awesome. It's 2 warbands of 10 models, which is super cool as well. Okay, so yeah, they show them again here with the little skink. So I'm assuming they're only going to be able to be taken by this faction. So essentially you have what amounts to like 13 versus 10, and then all the terrain, the book, the cards, etc. I'm really excited about this, super pumped. I don't mind that they recycled the terrain a little bit as they kind of change it up, but I do wish they would have done like all original stuff, or at least done a new sprue of the scatter terrain. It wouldn't be as bad if they didn't literally already give us 2 of that sprue in the Heart of Gur set, but regardless, still a great set, super excited for it, and definitely picking it up. All right, and then we see a bunch of the components from the Warcry Heart of Gur box. And if you didn't check out my videos from yesterday, I did a breakdown on where you could find some absolutely stellar deals on the internet. Now, granted, when I put out those videos, a lot of times, whatever it is I'm pumping up in this or whatever it is I'm showing off, they sell out pretty quickly. Like we'll see like 25 or 30, couple $100 boxes sell. So make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you're looking out for those when they do come. So, but here we have the Rot and Ruin book right here. We have half of the terrain, which is the Watchcamp. And now when I say it's half of the terrain, it's not technically half. You get 2 of the trees, and then you get the big skull tower, and you get 1 thing of scatter terrain. So it's missing a decent amount of the terrain from the set, but it's not quite half. But at 112 for this and 35 for the book, you're already over like the price that you can buy the entire Heart of Gur box for. And there's still so much more in the Heart of Gur box. You have a bunch more terrain. You have 2 warbands, the cards, the dice, the rule book, like everything. So I would definitely pick up the discounted Heart of Gur set if you can still get it. You can definitely still get it. So next we have our dice sets. So I'm not super excited about these dice. Really disappointed, one, that they raised the price on them. $40 a set. They are 18 dice in a set because in Warcry everything's in 3s. You see like 3 different colors for each of the dice sets. So you get 6, 6, and 6. So when it's all said and done, you know, with these prices, Games Workshop typically has been selling 20 dice for like $38, and now we're up to selling 18 dice for $40. I don't like where this trend is going, but not surprised. All right, and then next we see they have brought out the individual warbands from Heart of Gur. We have the Horns of Hashut, $60 with your cards and ability card. And then, of course, the Rotmire Creed as well. 2 pretty cool gangs. I like them. They're fun. They've got some cool little flavor to them. Rotmire Creed is actually really good. I think people were kind of overlooking it at first, but they are pretty awesome. And then on to the old warbands that they brought back. So this really perturbs me pretty bad. I know most people probably will not have noticed this, nor do they care. But all these warbands that they brought back right here are now $60, and they don't include the ability card or fighter cards. So you're buying a warband, you're not getting any of that. Now, granted, you can get access to it all for free online, but this is why it's a bummer, is previously Games Workshop used to sell these sets as Slaves to Darkness boxes, and you actually, instead of getting exactly what was pictured in each of these pictured, you got double that. So you basically paid $10 more than this, but you didn't get the fighter or ability cards, and you got twice as many models, which is super cool. But now Games Workshop got rid of the fighter and ability cards from these sets, kept them at $60 a piece, and then they have gotten rid of the double sets for the extra like $10. So super big bummer. Honestly, the only thing, like the only redeeming factor for the majority of the actual book warbands is that if you bought the Slaves to Darkness box, you had double miniatures, and then you could kind of build your warband however you want. Because all of these are composed like exactly at 1,000 points with 1 leader. And obviously with all the changes that have come in, you know, you can still add in allies or you could still add in monsters, but you may want, you know, 2 different guys with the net, or you may want a couple extra snakes or something like that. So super big bummer that they basically jacked up the prices on all these. Even if the price stays the same, if they take something away, it's still more expensive because you're getting less for the same amount of money. So in my opinion, super grimy, dirty move by Games Workshop, but not surprised, obviously. They don't want people buying stuff and getting a good deal on it. So they did bring back all of these warbands, bunch of awesome ones, some of the most amazing models in my opinion they make. Super awesome like fantasy and adventure models for D&D, etc. So we do see the Chaos Beast coming back, and then we see a bunch of the allies coming back as well. The Ogroid Myrmidon, he is pretty awesome, goes pretty well in your Chaos Warbands. The Formid Crusher is okay. He can throw rocks, but there's not really a place for him. The Mind Stealer Spheranx is absolutely amazing though. It has some sweet abilities. It is super beefy and pretty reasonable on the points as well. I think this is definitely one of the most overlooked allies that you can get in Warcry. Also a super cool model as well. So next we have Sanguinius, the Great Angel Special Edition. So this is super cool. I'm really liking this. $65 for this, 2,500 copies worldwide signed. If you do want a copy of this, probably should grab it up. Last couple of the limited releases have not been selling out, at least not right away. So maybe that's because they're making a little more of them. Maybe they're just not as popular, specifically a couple of the books they did, or maybe people are just running out of spending money. But regardless, if you do want access to these things, if you don't buy them when they're first coming out, they're like 3 times as much a couple months later online. So if you do want access to it, 2,500 limited copies, numbered, signed, all that cool stuff. If not, grab up the regular book for $19. If you're going to read it, this is probably the way to go. And then we've got the Hallowed Ground paperback, the Soul Drinkers Omnibus, and then Blood Bowl Spike Presents, but the digital copy. So that's everything for this week's releases. Definitely some good stuff on here. I think I personally am the most excited for the expansion of Warcry because I really like both those warbands. And then obviously I am super pumped for the Christmas boxes as well. So I've been looking for an excuse to kind of fill out my Sylvaneth army, and ended up just pulling the trigger on this because there's a couple things in there that I need. Skip the majority of the other box sets because I'm holding out for 40K. And also took advantage of some of the other Christmas deals as well. But always like to hear from you guys what you're picking up. I did go ahead and pull the trigger on the Thunderstrike Spearhead just because it goes perfect with the Dominion half. And I already have like Krondis, the big dragon as well. So it's basically just completes my army. And then I have plenty of extra stuff to swap in and out. I was really torn on the Squigalanche. Ended up passing on that one. The Skaven, there's so many good deals here. It was hard to choose. But the truth is, the majority of my time is spent either playing the skirmish games like Warcry, Kill Team, or sometimes Necromunda, or on 40K stuff. So fantasy or Sigmar is kind of like on the back burner for me. So I'm a little less likely. Although for some strange reason, I do find myself whenever it's like my free time and I'm not working painting, like painting for someone else, I tend to spend my time painting fantasy miniatures that I'm going to use in D&D. I don't know why that is. I just really enjoy it. I think because most of the commissions that we do are 40K, so it's fun to paint fantasy stuff as well. I'm not really sure, but it's weird. I think the most important thing too, when you're like painting a lot or when you're doing something for your job on a regular basis, that you do find that perfect balance between actual work time and like enjoyment time between what you have to paint and what you want to paint, for instance. So but that's it for today. Let me know what you guys are picking up, what you're most excited for. Hopefully, with any luck, tomorrow we'll be having our Sunday preview video, and we'll have all the 40K boxes up for pre-order. So time-wise, this is basically what Games Workshop did last year. 2 weeks before Christmas, put up like the pre-orders for the 40K stuff. Now, the difference being that last year there was only, I think it was 10 total boxes, 6 for 40K and 4 for Sigmar. This year you have 15 boxes, and then on top of that you have a bunch of other like army box sets and stuff that came out as well. So in my opinion, GW is completely flooding the market with these. I can't speak for every region everywhere because some people around the world were saying boxes were sold out for them like locally or online. But in the United States, the AdMech box didn't even make it to the sellers until like end of February, beginning of March. And then on top of that, all the other boxes were still in stock well into March of the following year. So these have historically in the past always sold out and been really good deals. If you don't have the cash or you don't want to overextend yourself, I think this year you're probably safe. There is a chance you could miss out on one of these boxes, but the truth is I have a feeling well into January, February, March, you'll be able to find a lot of these things. And the truth is, a lot of last year's boxes were pretty freaking good, and you can still find those at local friendly gaming stores or even online at like 10 to 20% off of retail. And that's a year later. So don't feel like you have to FOMO into these Christmas boxes. There's definitely some good deals, but I have a feeling that if I'm correct about the flood of Warhammer that Games Workshop is putting out and the future of the world economy, at least like short to medium term, I have a feeling the deals have only just begun, and we're going to continue seeing massive, massive discounts. Speaking of discounts, if you didn't check out the videos from yesterday for Warhammer 40,000 and Age of Sigmar and all the off-skirt games, found some awesome details online to save you guys a ton of money. And most of the stuff I showed off is not even Black Friday specials. It's just stuff that I have found over the last few weeks that are like really, really good prices, heavily discounted over MSRP. So that's it for today. Let me know what you think. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow, for the 40K pre-order announcement. But that is it today. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.